Hello, everyone, and hello to the sirens in the background. I hope you are all doing well, and I know it's been a while since we've had an episode of Uncropped. I kind of forgot what it was for a second there. I wanted to take some time and just reflect on, as I've been posting a lot on social media, as has Room 310 and the River's Edge Instagram page itself. We finally finished wrapping words. We wrapped the production of River's Edge, which is the feature-length film that Piper, my girlfriend, and I wrote together, and we are thrilled to have it be done in a sense, where all the on-set stuff is done. Now we're just in the post-production, and we're working day in, day out, trying to get something out. We should have a this is an exclusive detail, but we're going to have a rough cut in the next 3 days, and it's August 14th today. So we just finished, we had to go and actually reshoot a couple of scenes this morning. And it was just two quick scenes, so it was literally just me and Isaiah, the main character. Isaiah is playing Cash. But we got that done. Now we're officially done, unless we need other reshoots, which we don't. As of right now, we are completely good. Been looking through all the footage, everything looks fine, and watching back each group of scenes. We're editing in a unique way, which I think I'll have Will on at some point to kind of talk about our editing process once we're closer to the end and are at the end, because I really want to cover this from many aspects. Right now, I'm looking at it from a director's point of view, where also I want to have Piper on because I want to talk about the writer's point of view, because I also did co-write this with Piper. She and I wrote it together, and it was a really great experience. But I want to talk more about the director's perspective, on set, and what that entails and how I feel about it all, because it's a really challenging job. It's challenging also in the sense that I'm basically the main point of contact for everything in this film. We have producers, yes, we have cinematographers, directors of photography, all that kind of stuff, yes. But in the end, I am in charge of everything on set, because directing, and also this being me and Piper's project, and I'm more on the technical aspect of things. She's more on the storyline driven based type of things. It's a really unique situation and circumstance, because typically whenever you have people who write films, you have them be filmmakers already. At least from what I've seen, Piper is not a filmmaker by her career. She's a journalist, so she is a writer, which is awesome, and she's very, very good at that. But it's a completely different perspective for her, and I'll let her talk about that more at another time. But I want to talk about the directing aspect of things, because here I was diving into something I'd never done before. I've never directed a film that has more cinematic value, and I've never worked on or directed a feature-length film. So two big new things for me. I've also never had to organize or be in charge of this many people at once. That was a big challenge, because we have 14 crew members, if I'm doing math correctly. 14 crew members, I believe. And four main characters. But they're never on set at the same time, so 3. So we're going to say 17 people. There were times in which I had to be in charge and supervising and paying attention to what 17 different people were doing at the same time, which is absolutely a challenge. It is overwhelming at times, especially when you're on a really, really challenging shoot, and you have a certain amount of time, or you're behind schedule, or you're trying to get ahead of schedule, or there's so many different factors that factor in here. But I can tell you one of the most stressful ones was we were filming a very big scene, and it was going to be a very big scene, and it ended up being properly executed. I will say that. I'm making it sound like it wasn't. So it was the day that we were supposed to be filming. I can tell you actually the exact date. Friday the 28th. Friday, June 28th was one of our. It was our. Um, it was a long day. I will say that. It was like our sixth day of filming. I want to say. Um, we started at a high school filming location. That went well. We were ahead of schedule there. Took a nice break, had some lunch and such. Started filming a driveway scene. And then scene 72 we started filming, which is at Cash and Hadley's house. I'm trying not to say too much, but I'm just saying scene numbers. You guys won't know that. But and then all of a sudden, one of our actors, I'm not going to say who, one of our actors wasn't feeling well, so I had to just like kind of chat and be like, hey, okay, what's the best thing for the film? I pulled Piper aside. I was like, hey, I don't want anyone acting or doing something they're not going to be comfortable with, especially if they're not feeling well. What should we do? And we came up with the conclusion of, okay, well, there are other scenes that actor is not in, so we'll take the scenes that they're not in, kind of swap them around, move the scene that they are in until another day. We'll make it a longer day another day, yes, but it'll pay off in the end. We'd rather work an extra hour and a half one day to make sure the actors are feeling well, and then to push them when they're not feeling well, and have it not come out like we want. Because the scene after this was going to be one of the most intense scenes in the films, and I did not want my actors to have to go through one of the most intense, focused, and just challenging scenes, not just even for acting. It's more challenging for cinematography, and I'm really glad that we did move it around, because that scene ended up taking about 3.5 hours, and if we had continued to do that scene as scheduled, we would have been there until like 11 o'clock at night, which would have been really frustrating, especially for someone who's not feeling well. I want people to be able to take care of themselves on set, and that's I kind of pride myself in how I'm running things, or data run things on set, because if you know me as a person, you know that I genuinely try to express how much I care, and I don't want to say this like I'm bragging. I just am trying to express my thought process through this. I don't want people doing things if they're not comfortable, if they're not feeling well, if they're unsure or have questions. Like, I am the kind of person where I want you to tell me. I want to make this work for everyone. I want to make everyone comfortable. I want to make everyone happy, and I want to make it worth everyone's time, because this is a project where a lot of us are giving up time and trying to use it as an opportunity to learn, myself included, the actors included. Everyone deserves to have a good experience if they're dedicating this much time and effort. So might as well take the time to return the favor, take the 10 seconds to be like, hey, is this okay with you? Are you feeling okay? The quick 10-second check-in with everyone, and I tried to do that as much as I could. Obviously, we were working like crazy hours and working a lot of days, but I did genuinely want to make sure that I knew that people were comfortable and enjoying themselves, and feeling like they could express themselves creatively on set. Because again, this is a ginormous learning experience for everybody involved. I would feel like I failed if we made a good film, but nobody learned anything, or if everyone was unhappy. Yes, the film came out well, but I value the connections, the people, and how people are feeling more. Because if I want to work with these people again in the future, which from my experience, yes, absolutely, I want to make sure that everyone is comfortable, happy, enjoying themselves, and feel like they're worth it, and their time has been worth it, and their effort. So that's kind of how I was like running things on set, and there were, I was gonna say another moment where, continuing off of this story, sorry, I'm a little off track, but yeah, so I talked to the actor who wasn't feeling very well, and I was like, hey, like, what do you want to do? Do you genuinely feel comfortable acting here? And they were like, no, I don't know if I can give my best performance, and I don't know if I can actually do it. Like, if you're able to make it work to swap things out, great. If not, I'll push through it. That's what they said, and I was like, well, I told them, I was like, hey, like, I am not going to make you do something through pain and not feeling well. So I went over, talked to Piper. I was like, hey, I want to try swapping things around so this person can take care of themselves and not have to worry about it. But and then Piper was like, absolutely, like, that makes total sense. So in a last second type scramble situation, it was about 10 to 15 minutes of me intensely staring at the calendar on my phone and my computer and trying to figure out what can I move where to make everything get filmed in time, and just move things so these two people are still here, have these people do this scene together instead of the one tonight. And it was a lot of moving back and forth, and I think Piper was there with me, kind of just watching over my shoulder, and like, oh yeah, kind of helping me think this through, which I'm glad she was there to help me think it through. But I was able to make it scheduling work with the other two still being there, and then the other actor who wasn't feeling well had got an opportunity to go home, take care of themselves, and they came back feeling a whole bunch better because they had a couple of days off after that as well. So it was a I'm very proud of that call, because the actor said to me, hey, like, I appreciate you doing this, because in other experiences I've had, the director would just tell me to act through it and just push through it, and don't worry about it, just ignore it, which it's really hard to ignore when you're not feeling well. So I don't understand why people can have that type of mentality. I understand if it's like a really quick scene and it's going to take half an hour to film, but if it's a scene that's going to take 3.5, 4 hours to film, why would you put anyone through that? Why would you make someone have to deal with that and not be able to give their best performance? Because if you as a director, you want them to give their best performance, you want the film to come out as good as possible. But if you know that someone's not feeling well, why in the world would you put them in the situation where they cannot perform to the best of their abilities? So you have to think about that, as well as the well-being of your cast and crew and yourself. So it's so much to think about. So that was a moment where I felt proud of myself for making what I felt was the right decision, and in the end, it was. But there were also a lot of challenges. There were some scenes where I was genuinely frustrated because we had a lot of issues. We had, again, managing 16 people on set together is challenging, but the more challenging part of that is when things go wrong that are completely out of anyone's on set's control. Weather or nature sounds like birds or whatever, and it's no one's fault. It's just a frustrating situation. And there were a few of those, which was challenging, because a lot of people know this, and I've talked to the cast and crew about this. Like, I was genuinely frustrated, and there were times I had to walk away because I was so frustrated with the situation at hand, and I could feel myself starting to kind of let my anger leak out and go towards other people on set, which, again, 100% not their fault. It was a mismanagement of stress on my part, and I've since apologized. But another learning experience for me on how to manage my emotions and stress on set. That's something that I've learned as well. But it was really frustrating when you had everything going well, takes going well, and all of a sudden a bird starts going in the background, or there's a weed whacker going on in the background of a scene, or something else is going on. It's like, it's really frustrating, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just a big learning experience. That's what all the frustrating things are. All the frustrating things are just stuff you can learn from, stuff you learn from next time, to plan for, to check the weather 8 million more times beforehand, check everything. And that's one challenge of filming in New England. We filmed all of this film in New England, so it was the New England weather is very variable. If you don't live here, you don't know, but it I mean, it's probably the same in many other places in the world and in the country, but it can say no rain, beautiful sunny skies. 10 minutes later, it'll be pouring, and especially in Maine. So it's not ideal for planning when it comes to filmmaking, but it's a beautiful place to film, and all of our locations were amazing, and we had some really, really great places and sets and that kind of stuff. We had a lot of great stuff. Um, but in the end, it was all worth it. Um, my I have so many favorite moments. That's my thing. My favorite moment as a director, um, I I can't tell you. I have no clue. The whole entire film, in and of itself, was such a. Just thinking about the experience as a whole is giving me chills right now. I'm not exaggerating. I swear, my leg hairs are standing up right now. I'm getting chills. Because it was such a. It was humbling. It was exciting. It was amazing. It was frustrating. It was absolute chaos. It was exhausting. It was the most stress I've ever been in. But it was the best experience I've had in film in my life. No, it's top 3 best experiences I've had in my life. Hands down. I don't know why I hesitated to say that. It is top 3 in my life. Um, and yes, I'm only 24, but it's a thrill because I would not have chosen. If I would go back, I would not choose a single person different on my crew or cast or anyone involved. Everyone did an amazing job, spectacular job, and I have said this a million times to so many people, but from the bottom of my heart, like, I have never regretted getting anyone on board in this film. Um, so much so that I want to work with everyone again on whatever happens to be next for any projects that we all come across in our lives. But there are so many things I want to work on in the future, and I want these people to be involved because they have been the most fun people to work with. We had actors. We had Isaiah, Jared, Cora, David. My dad acted. Stephanie acted. We had a bunch of extras that came in and filled in for a couple of scenes, which was awesome. Everyone did amazing there. And you have our entire crew. I'm going to go through and make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. We have Carter, Murphy, Will, Dylan, Colleen, Aiden, Maddie, Angus, Peter, Jacob, Enzo, Little, and we had. I swear I'm missing someone, which I feel really bad about, but at the same time, it's so many people to remember. Piper, obviously, Aiden, Angus, Piper, Carter, Colleen, Dylan, Enzo, Jacob, Maddie, Murphy, Peter, and Will, and myself. So everyone, I loved working with everyone on set. They all did a spectacular job, and the number one thing that impressed me about everyone is when you think of people like working on film sets, you don't think of them being like passionate, like they're not like whatever. They're oh, I'm just here for the resume experience. I'm here for the money if it's a big paying job or whatever. Everyone here was just as passionate about this project as I was, and I had not known most of these people met most of these people until about 2 days before we started filming in June. So June 20th or June 19th, depending on when people showed up, was the day I met everyone, and we started filming June 22nd. First couple days were kind of tough. We were kind of getting used to working with each other and such, as you would expect on sets, and those days did go over on time. But day three, I mean, man, I remember day three vividly. We were day two and day three. We actually did really well, and we were ahead of schedule for everything we filmed that day. And we had a whole bunch of stuff to film. Like day three was, we filmed 8 a.m. to 10:30, 10:30 to 12:30, 5:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 8:30, and 8:30 to 10. That's a lot in one day. That's, if my math is correct, that's 9 hours of filming in a day. But everyone was on it. We were ahead of the game, and it makes me really happy. But no, everyone was amazing, and it's back to my like emotions about all this. Is last day on set with everybody, I genuinely got emotional because when you have that good of an experience, you don't want to let it go. You don't want it to be done. You don't want it to never happen again. So there's a lot of happiness that it happened, and happiness that it went as well as it did, and happiness that just you have everybody, and that everyone cared as much as you did. But there's also a whole lot of sadness because you don't want to lose those experiences. You don't want to not have a chance to work with everyone again. You don't want to not be able to give people the opportunity again. So it's a whole mix of emotions. I was all over the place that day. It was July, I think it was July 7th was our last filming day with everybody, and I was all over the place. I was like trying to just figure out what to do with myself, but I was able to keep myself occupied because the same week, actually, if I'm looking at the calendar, I have the calendar up right now, same week on like Friday and stuff, I was going through footage and labeling stuff and making sure it was sent to Will and that kind of stuff. So it's all going so quick. And then the following Monday, like a week and one day after we started filming, Will and I started our editing calls, and we are, again, like I said, we're about to have a rough cut done in 3 days, which is ahead of our schedule that we planned on it. But again, you can't be too cocky about that or too arrogant, because you have to think about stuff can happen. You never know. But yeah, my main emotions on the last day were like joy, but sadness. And we shared that post of the stuff on social media where it was like kind of like me talking to everyone on the last part of my little talk with everyone, and I started genuinely like crying because it was, again, the best experience of my life, and Piper and I got to see you it's insane when you write something and think something up in your head, and then, oh my gosh, it's so, yeah, when you think of the fact that 3 years ago I was sitting in my grandparents' house in bed on a FaceTime call with Piper, and we were just like, let's just write something. Or she's like, I want to write something. I don't remember exactly how it went, but she wanted to write something. And we kind of just came up with this idea one night. And we did it in like an hour. And then all of a sudden that turns into a summary, a paragraph, a whole another paragraph, an episodic series. In a span of 48 hours, it turned from like, hey, I want to write something, to, okay, here's a an outline for a season of a TV show. And then from there it goes, okay, here's a script. And then it's like, okay, screw the TV show idea. It's a movie. And then we wanted to make it sooner. That's the thing. We wanted to make it in spring of 2022 when we wrote it in 2021. So we wanted to make it in spring of 2022, but I was graduating college. She was still in college, and I had my capstone, and there was a lot going on. And then 2023, she was graduating. But after she graduated, it was the whole job hunt for her. And after that, it was like, hey, let's do this. Let's get this done. We've been working on it very, very slowly in the background, but let's freaking do this. And we started getting into full pre-production mode. I want to say it was late summer and early fall of last year. So just about a year ago now. We started going to like full-on pre-production mode, gathering crew and sending out cast stuff, and it has been a crazy quick year. But seeing that 3 years ago it was a FaceTime call, and now it's something that you can actually visually see on a screen in front of you in a timeline on Premiere, and then next year it will be on a bigger screen actually looking like a movie. I have no clue how to process that. I mean, I've had experiences where we did a more professional like documentary, like a short documentary for capstone on school. Yeah. But this is outside of school. This is outside of the realm of anything we've ever done before. And it's so crazy to me. And I'll never fully be able to process it. I don't think I ever will, because I'm so genuinely confused right now as to how we were able to fucking make a movie. We were able to do this all on our own. And again, our crew is mostly alumni from Keene State and current Keene State students. As in, people who have graduated in the past, I think, maximum 4 years. So the oldest crew members is 27, which is insane. Like, everyone in our crew is 27 or younger. And the fact that we could get such a good crew and a good group in that age range and have them all be passionate and all care about something that Piper and I just took the time one fucking night in August of 2021 and just was like, yeah, let's make a freaking movie or let's write something. The fact that 13, 16, 17, 20 people cared about that enough to be involved in making it, that's amazing. I feel like I'm just going on a giant loop and giant, like, spiral, but the emotions are repetitive in the sense where I'll be happy, I'll feel really happy, I'll talk about how happy I am about something, and then I'll be emotional about something, and then it's, oh yeah, that caused that caused that, and then another, like, then I'm thinking about something happy again that happened and how that feels, and then that'll also bring up like, oh yeah, I was so happy, but it was really emotional at the same time talking about this and this. So it's a giant loop of emotions when it comes to projects like this, because it's a life-changing experience. And I hate using that word when it's not real, but it is a life-changing experience. And a lot of people don't know what it's like to make a film until you either experience it for yourself, do it for yourself, or witness it happen, which is why we're doing behind the scenes, because we want to show, like, filming a movie isn't as simple as like, okay, get everyone here, click record, done. No, this is taken. It will, by the end of this, it will have taken 4-ish years. It's crazy. I don't get how people can be like, oh, making a movie is easy. No, it's not. You want to do it? Come on, let's do it. I'll supervise you doing it. I won't tell you what to do. You have to figure it out on your own, like we had to do. It's the greatest challenge of my life. but the greatest achievement of my life. Better than high school graduation, better than graduating college, and making a movie. That's my number one achievement in life. And with that, we will end this episode of Uncropped. We will talk to you soon, and we are going to have more guests for River's Edge. So we will talk to you later. Have a good one.